welcome to the Tribe Table.
Thank you.
We call it the Tribe Table because we're a tribe of women, and our mission is to build cultures of women supporting women and more good men. But our vision is that it becomes Tribe of Human. So these are our safe places where we come for awesome conversations with awesome people doing things toward that end goal. And since you're here at Bentonville Film Festival, obviously we're very much aligned with them and their mission, and your film is here, so
Yes.
we get to dig into all of that. I think that I've known Candace Barley, who is one of your stars, for several years now, and she's just a fabulous human.
Yeah, we love her.
And so she couldn't say enough about your film and you all working with you. So I was like, well, bring them on down. Awesome. So we're happy that you're here. So the film is Urban Country, and go ahead and introduce yourselves and kind of what your role in the film is.
I'm Teddy. I'm the director and also the cinematographer. So I was really had a good idea of the visuals for this movie. Gianna?
I'm the writer, and I did all the costume designing as well.
I'm Matt Keith. I was producer and casting director.
Excellent.
Yeah, we all wore a lot of
I was
hats.
going to say,
Yeah.
He,
We just-
Teddy forgot to mention editor and colorist.
Yeah.
And then
We
she
like that because it's a very small.
I forgot to mention a couple of things
Right,
as well.
right.
We just go with the most important
Right.
ones that we did.
Right.
But we
I'm
like
gonna
we like
say
small
everything.
teams.
Yeah.
People we can trust. And
yeah.
Less
and
people
know
to
they're
argue
going to
with.
follow
Right.
through and deliver.
Yes, just and work together. So have you guys worked together before?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
And that's how you found each other. So what are some of the other projects before this that you worked on together that you enjoyed?
I started working with Teddy in 2014. We did a film called A Gift Horse. We
Before
did,
that, even we did
Oh, that we shooted. That was about A Girl Like Grace. We did before that
all the way
one.
back to like 2011.
So actually, as
or
far
so.
as speaking of movies about and for women, we've probably done 4 or 5 in a row, because that seems to be, just the market that we've been successful, where we have female leads. And then we brought in, of course, a woman writer she also wrote another film we did called Race to Win with Luke Perry and Danielle Campbell.
Yeah.
And then so she came back to write Urban Country as well.
Good. There is something about horses and girls, right?
Yes.
There is a kinship there. I remember it's like 10 years old, and you just start having this obsession. There's something majestic and powerful, but kind and relatable, and so and obviously you guys are really good at telling those stories. So tell us a little bit about kind of the inspiration for writing this specifically.
Well, we just really wanted to write a film that, parents could watch with their kids. I have small kids, and I know that there's so many things that we watch that I'm just really bored by, I don't connect with, and they're not relevant for me, but they're relevant for them. So we're just kind of trying to, I guess, break into a market where we can do things that are relevant for both grown-ups and kids alike, and keep it appropriate, but not, not anything too over the top. Not anything that's too over the kid's head. That sort of thing. And we just, we want to move people. We want people to know that second chances are possible, and, forgiveness is a real thing, and that kind of stuff. So that's sort of what we tell, I guess.
So tell me a little bit about some of the themes that are underlying. Maybe they're more subtle messages, or maybe they're like you want this to be blatantly the message of this movie that you're bringing to audiences.
Well, our character gets in, without telling too much of the story.
I don't want to ruin anything.
She gets in a little bit of trouble in the beginning, and she's got sort of a rocky relationship with really both of her parents, honestly. And towards the end, she comes to terms with a lot of what she's done as a child and how she needs to better herself in the end. And I think one thing that we kind of show her do is we forgive herself for the mistakes that she made in the film. And I think so many people get lost in the wrong things that they do, that they don't ever figure out how to get on the right path. So that's kind of something that we wanted to make sure we did, that we showed a lot of growth in her character as quickly as possible. So that, you could see where that growth actually took her. It's, growth and forgiveness and trust they're really big, I think, in this story a lot.
I love that. I think one of the things that I know that what we find, and we do a lot of workshops, tribe talks is what we call them, where people can kind of unpack a lot of that, and all ages, but one of the first things is self-acceptance, right? And because how we feel about ourselves is kind of how we see the world. And especially in young women, we find there's a lot of rebellion, and a lot of it is just coming from how they're feeling about themselves. And kind of what you're talking about is that the difference between guilt and shame, like I made a mistake versus I am a mistake.
Well, her character is very much written like she even says it in the story, I'm a victim of being at the wrong place at the wrong time. Like she doesn't try to be the bad kid, but she kind of always ends up putting herself in positions where she's in trouble.
Yeah.
And so she can never be trying to do anything wrong, and she
happens.
it just kind of it's like it kind of finds her. But then you also see her sort of come out of that. She takes responsibility for that eventually, and then she figures out how she can just move past
Part of
that.
that's being around the wrong people.
Right.
Yes.
The people put her in that situation.
Yes.
She sort of cleans.
So that was
her.
part of our story, separating her from these people,
Yes.
and placing her in a different environment, and seeing how she overcomes obstacles in that environment.
She kind of has some toxic friends that also sort of make some changes towards the end, I guess, briefly.
I love that. We call it mean girl culture. Is one of the things that we address, which is really just toxic culture.
Yeah.
And until we're aware of it, we can't make those choices of to participate or not participate. And your friend group, choosing your friends, and sometimes you're not born into the best. And being able to go and make those choices and choose build a healthy tribe, right? And make those choices and surround yourself. And sometimes you don't know what that is until you're in it. And so you are putting her in that healthy environment to kind of exemplify that.
Well, and then for her, she's our main character. And there's like a juxtaposition between the two groups of people that she hangs out with, but both of them are sets of boys. So she's the only girl, and she's kind of starting off with the bad boy crowd.
Yeah.
And then she sort of finds this a little bit cleaner, more wholesome, good boy crowd to hang out with. But she's still the only girl, so she kind of gets to come into her own that way,
I love that. What do you think the importance of that storyline is when you have a female heroine, or when you have a heroine that's a girl or a woman, kind of that, what's the importance of kind of having not having an all-girl movie or an all-boy movie, and just kind of like, this is life. we're all in this together.
Right. Well, I mean, having been a teenage girl, you're faced with a lot of like trying to be accepted by people, and that's something that she goes the wrong way about in the beginning, and then realizes that it's not important, because when she does start hanging out with her new group of friends, they immediately accept her without any question or anything. So I mean, I think every teenage girl ever has gone through the I want to be popular, I want to be pretty, I want to be I want everybody to know my name. And so I kind of like that she doesn't really stick with that for very long.
Yeah, I like that. How do you feel like the industry? You guys have been around for a while, and I'm not putting any dates on anything. I'm just saying you've done a lot of business in the industry for a while. And so how do you feel like movies like this, or movies that you've done in the past, how do you feel like the industry is growing, changing? Kind of what's the direction and trajectory?
It's allowing anybody to get into it. The price point to get into to make a movie can be anything now. Steven Soderbergh just made a movie with his iPhone, and it's released theatrically nationwide, worldwide. So there's no excuses not to make a movie. When I was a kid, you had to have film, you had to have a film camera, you had to have post-processing, and all kinds of expenses.
Right. Well, and education too. And not to knock on any of that, but I don't think any of us went to school for what we're doing.
Right.
But nowadays, you can look on YouTube how to make a movie.
Right.
You can learn how to use the tools. You can learn cinematography for free online.
Yeah.
You can learn sound. You can learn acting, everything. There's no reason not to make a movie.
I think from a business standpoint, a shift that you're talking about is, I know, like I said, I've produced close to 40 films, and there's been a shift in the market to have these women leads, and I think that reflects society in itself. How women are now, with the, it's more of a, as far as from the past, more of an inequality, more of a, and I know even with the equal pay, and there's a lot of subject matter going on right now. But what we found out from studies and stuff, that women, go to the movies more. And there's a higher viewership of women for TV as well. So there's been a shift where now, even in the international side, that a female lead, it's a lot more, you see that more often than you did in the past. So.
Well, and as a filmmaker, you have to take that into account. And so even though you might have wanted to make a film that was a couple of years ago, we were interviewing someone that was making a big film with big names in it, and someone actually said to him, but nobody wants to see a movie about all women. And that was just a few years ago,
right?
And so he couldn't get it funded, and he just got everybody on a dime, and they were like, we're going to make this, and it was great. And so I think that the as a filmmaker, you have to make some of those decisions, and so is there any time that you decided?
That's part of being a professional.
Yeah.
I feel like women are much more embraced now, just in the past 5 years, than we were before.
It is, 5 years.
There's been a lot more, I think, opportunity for us because people are understanding that we have more to give than they realize. That we can be smart and we can be strong and we can separate our professional from our personal. We're not just emotional,
We're integrated,
right? Which I think has been
good.
I think has been a hesitation in the past to hire women in powerful roles. Is that's something you, as a woman, you hear a lot. Oh, women are so emotional. You hear that a lot, and I hear that less and less. And I'm always the only girl. It's always me and the boys, which I'm totally fine with, but it's not an issue. I don't feel like there's a lot of boundaries there. Like we can communicate like business partners.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't.
And sometimes it's an unconscious bias, right? And so bias is a lot of the things that we do is around bias and that unconsciousness. It's not that you people consciously thought those things about women. It was kind of just the culture that was. And so until it's conscious and you make that conscious effort toward including women, then it doesn't change. And you guys have been working together before. You've worked together before, and so obviously that was not a challenge for you personally.
Right.
But also you're a minority in the industry.
Yeah.
So Matova is one of our sponsors here, and they're focused on women in STEAM.
I mean, we definitely have to try harder.
Yeah,
We definitely have to prove ourselves more. For sure.
Yeah, we have to work harder to get to the same level of acceptance. But women in STEAM and film is technology, right? I mean, it is. There's a lot of technology that goes on there. Even when we talk about women in technology, there may be somebody that works for AT&T in the marketing department, but they're still in the technology industry. So as a writer, you may not be on the technical side of it, but it's still a technology industry. But women in tech generally are a minority, so they're even smaller, and so you all have to seek women out in order to bring them on your team.
And I want to say, I know this is kind of off the subject, but not, but our lead,
Nothing's
Brighton.
off the subject. We're here.
Brighton Sharbino, I was going to say,
Beautiful.
I can't say enough good about her. I mean, I know people always say that for press, but we're like her entire family actually came down. But the thing I loved about her, we had a lot of, just to put this out there, a lot of pretty recognizable names for this role. But Brighton said, we had a couple of the roles available. She said, I want the lead role or I don't want it at all. And when she said that, Teddy, we talked about it. We're like, just that determination to say, I want to be that lead. We were just kind of like, okay.
And we had a role written specifically in mind for her that originally was a guy.
Right.
And it was like it was one of her best friends.
Like a supporting role.
And we were.
She said she didn't want that.
And she didn't.
That is awesome.
We had that written, and we were like, we will tweak this and make it a female for you. And she's like, no thanks, I want to be Faith. And so she just lived the role.
Yeah.
And it was incredible.
She?
She was 14 when we shot. She'll be 16 in August. So yeah, she's a little powerhouse. You got to keep your eyes open for her.
That's good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you wouldn't know her age unless you asked, because she's just kind of an older soul and just professional, and
she carries herself so well. She's so mature and respectful and appreciative. She's very driven. She gets to the business and she looks at the big picture. And it was very impressive to work with her.
And let me say this too, another thing. This is a big thing for me as a producer is, it's one thing on a film is to come work on the film. What are you going to do after? Okay. And Brighton has been on board. Her family's been on board, and our film's going to go theatrical. We just found out in August.
Awesome!
So we're really excited about that,
Congratulations.
and
Thank you.
she's on board for that, you know. And you know, why wouldn't you be? You're a lead in a film, but you'd be surprised. Sometimes, you know, you don't hear from them as much after the film's over. They're off to the next film.
The next one.
But with one thing with her, she stayed committed and dedicated to the project. So.
That's awesome. That's great.
So.
Well, congratulations to all of you. That's
Thank
great. So tell me about the big picture. So obviously, huge announcement. Thank you very much.
You're the first to hear
I
that
was
too.
like,
Are
be
you
the first to know it? Yeah.
First to hear.
Yeah.
Hashtag
Yeah.
whatever we want to put a hashtag on
Right,
that one.
right.
Thank
You guys know
That's
first.
great.
Mhm.
Congratulations. That's
Thank
going to be
you.
amazing.
Yeah.
So so this is on its way. So where is Bentonville Film Festival in your kind of trajectory, or is it?
I mean, you know.
Are you guys done with the circuit? Or
We're done with the circuit,
Okay.
you know, and we really
Okay.
didn't hit the circuit too hard. Bentonville was our primary
Yes.
location.
We saved the best.
Yeah,
for
we did
last.
save it, and
Good.
mainly because of what Bentonville represents and what they look for. And you know, when I talked to you know, Trevor, and they were just like, "This is perfect," you know, and they
We have
watched
the same pillars that we do.
Mhm,
You know,
mhm.
for you guys have the same end goal.
right,
You know,
absolutely.
we
So,
want to empower women, but we want to tell meaningful stories.
Meaningful stories. Well, and
Meaningful, you know.
I love, part of what I love about the festival is that it was focused on women in film when it started the first year, and then it's evolved, just like we as people will. It's evolved to be diversity, inclusion. Now it's evolved to, you know, we've got disabilities are being recognized, and it's just going to keep evolving and including, so that we can.
right.
We
and-
just feel like this is a very wholesome market, and that's what we want to be. We want to make wholesome films. We want, you know, that's our goal.
And from a business side, just to be honest, you know, I mean, Walmart is the top.
Yeah.
You know, what is it, 88 to 90%, I think, of DVD sales across the United States. I want an
Pretty big
end cap
contributor.
position. You know,
Yeah.
we want it to be in everybody's face. So when you walk by that aisle, they said, I think now Walmart said it was like 1.5 seconds that your eyes focus on when you're walking by the DVD aisle. So we wanted that position for them to see Urban Country, Brighton, Lou Diamond Phillips, C. Thomas, Jason London, and to grab it and pick it up. And what better place to promote that than Bentonville?
That's
So.
perfect. You guys-
Sometimes I need to unplug. Sometimes I've got to reboot. Sometimes I just want to sleep. But I always want to connect with you. Get into Brew Moods, aromatherapy lotion powered by a mindfulness app.